Bonjour, everyone. Or should I say, good evening. Good evening, Newcastle United fans. Good evening, everyone. Right then, huge news today, wasn't it? Massive news out of the blue as usual. That's the best way. That's the way it's always going to be. No-one knows. This bollocks. Unai Emery in advanced talks to become the next Newcastle United manager. The current Villarreal boss, who's a couple hours away from taking charge of his team in the Champions League against Young Boys, is in talks with Newcastle United. Amanda Staveley, PIF, and the rest of the consortium have figured him out to be the number one choice to take over the helm, to be the new boss of the new era and guide us out the relegation battle first, and then into a new era, into a new, fresh Newcastle United, a positive, ambitious Newcastle United. They're trusting Unai Emery to be that man, ex-Arsenal boss. I'm going to have an Arsenal fan on with us, Sam, who's been on EFTV and a few other things a few times, been on this channel as well a couple of years ago on a fan cam. He is going to be joining us in about 10 minutes to talk about how he feels about Unai Emery, how he rated him at the time, because quite a mixed bag from Arsenal fans on Unai Emery. Some of them love him, some of them hated him. Some of them still think he was harshly treated, pushed out the door quickly, didn't get backed enough. We'll see what Sam's got to say. A lot of them are saying he does bring a good style of play. He is can sort of defence out, but some of them wanted him out straight away. And it was always going to be impossible for Emery to follow in Arsene Wenger's footsteps. But we'll see what Sam, the Arsenal fan, has got to say in about 10 minutes. We'll do the stream for about 45 minutes or so, and then I'm going to jump onto Rubenstein's stream at 7, so make sure you check that out. And maybe Keg and someone else might jump in this stream throughout. So get your comments in. How we're doing. Plenty of good evenings, what I like to see. Evening, Pete, evening, everyone. Good to see you all in there. Please smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Hope this does go through. Could go through within the next couple of days, hopefully. Obviously, the main thing that came out this morning was they were saying that Emery could be in, should be in. The new owners want him in before Saturday. Before Saturday's game away to Brighton. They want Emery, they want the new manager in the dugout for the game at the Amex. So that's huge news. I'm buzzing with that, because I got the tickets for Brighton and I was thinking, surely a new manager will be in by then. But then Jones takes charge of a couple of the games. We know how lifting those games were. So I hope that we can get him in for Saturday. What a boost that'll be, because I'm not confident at all of going to Brighton under the current regime of Graham Jones, and his fucking tactics are absolutely lifting. Bruce in disguise, pretty much the same thing. Players out of position, best players on the bench. I haven't got time for that. And going to Brighton, Graham Potter's Brighton, who are flying, high-flying seagulls at the minute, just drew with Liverpool. We need that new manager bouncing. We need some new ideas going into Brighton. Great appointment if it goes through. Evening all. Emery's Black and White Army. Let's have a look. Hello, mate. Good, thank you. How are you? Very good today here in that news of Emery. I'm delighted with Emery, to be honest. I think it's one of the best ones I could have got. Unai had a dream to build a football team with Saudi owners. I mean, look at it. I mean, you've got to think, though, right? Unai Emery, he's in the Champions League tonight. He's the Europa League winner. He owns the Europa League trophy at the minute. He owns it of all time, to be honest. He is Mr. Europa League. He has had 4 trophies in the Europa League. That's a record. No one's ever matched that. 3 consecutive wins in the Europa League with Sevilla back in the day. Starting off in 2013, I think it was. So he dominates that tournament. I mean, imagine if he can come here and get us European football. First of all, just getting European football and having European away days would be unreal. And then if he could go on and win it, Jesus, it's unthinkable at the minute, isn't it? Because we kind of let's not get that carried away. We need to stay up first. We need to stay in the league. And Emery is good at building teams. He did build a beast of a team at Sevilla. He does well. He sorts out defences. He likes to play out from the back as well. So we are going to need January to come round to do that, because our goalkeepers, especially Darlow, after the weekend, his distribution is absolutely awful. So we need to sort that out. And we need ball-playing centre-backs. Got one, Fabian Shaw, on the bench. I'm sure he'll be straight in the team. So they're bloody Crafty Craft or ourselves, or any of them, as soon as Emery comes in. I'm over the moon with Emery. I think it's an insane appointment, like insanely good. Like I think out of everyone that's been linked, he's by far the best. This is the current Europa League champion. He's a current Champions League manager. He won trophies at PSG. He won trophies at Sevilla. He's won trophies at Villarreal. He got to a final with Arsenal. He finished 5th with them in the league when they had a poor squad. They're getting over the Wenger days. So I think it's a very good appointment. I think it's a very, very good appointment. Like Ulva says, he knows tactics. How nice is it going to be to have a manager that knows tactics? We haven't had one of them for years. What else is he saying? I will be telling the man I saved it by Saw. Absolutely. I think Starr should be one of the players we should be getting in January. Imagine how frightening that front three is of Saw, St. Maximin and Wilson. And the best thing about Emery as well, he plays a formation. His favourite formations are 4-2-3-1 and 4-3-3, which is the formations I've been crying out for ages. That's the formation that suits our players at the minute. So for him already to be his preferred formations is absolutely perfect for us, because we should be utilising that. We play with the bloody 5 at the back, 2 in midfield. We've got no fucking midfield anyway. We're midfielders are shite. We haven't got the wing backs that are good enough to play that system. We'll play bloody Richie at wing back. So why do we consist on playing that? I can't wait for. Imagine if Emery gets appointed tomorrow. He's at a training ground Thursday. He's not given much time, like, is he? To be fair, we can't expect much apart from a new manager bounce for Saturday, really. But then across the international break, more so, he can really implement a philosophy and a style early doors, hopefully as best as he can, and we'll have a change of formation for the game after the international break. I absolutely love the fact that one of the upcoming games for Newcastle is Arsenal away, so I know how much Unai Emery would absolutely love to stick it to them. Obviously, we've got Brentford at home after the international break, and then it is Arsenal on the 27th of November at 12:30 lunchtime kickoff. So it'd be brilliant to see Unai Emery do over Arsenal. I've been going to the Emirates for years. It's the away game. I always go to the Emirates. There's always them away games that you definitely go to every year. Mine's only Everton and Arsenal, things like that. But always go to the Emirates. Always see we get pumped. Barely see we score a goal. Never mind get a result. So if we could go there and perform and even get a 1-1, 2-2, that would be unreal. But yeah, definitely take Saw. So it has came out in the last couple of hours, which is very contradicting because of what Sky are reporting and everyone else. But the Villarreal president has said, I'm sure that his mind is not drifting elsewhere. I know Unai has a contract with us and contracts are there to be fulfilled. We hope that we will be able to see that contract through until the end. But then once you get offered 6 million euros, that might sway his mind. And Emery's mind is already swayed, you'd believe, by what you're hearing. Gillian Blake, I probably pronounced that wrong. How do you pronounce that? Gillian Blake, whatever it is, who was on Sky quite a bit, the Spanish correspondent. He said Villarreal have not heard from Newcastle or from Unai about a move, but they sense something is going on. So why would you sense something is going on if you haven't heard? They sense something is going on, and the hierarchy would like him to stay, but they say it's not in our hands, as he has a 6 million buyout clause, which NUFC are willing to pay, says Gilliam. So that speaks for itself as well. Unai feels he has unfinished business in the Premier League. The further away we go from his tenure at Arsenal, the more we have to conclude he was stabilising an unsettled ship. His 4 wins in the Europa League suggest a lover of details and reader of the game what NUFC need now. It absolutely is what NUFC need now. A manager that actually knows how to manage and do tactics and things like that. It'd be absolutely lovely. So I think that's just trying to run over it. I think Emery will be interesting to see what Emery says tonight when asked upon it. Probably not much, but if he's asked about it in his press conference after the game or before, it'll be intriguing to see what he says. But he'll probably keep things private. But with Sky being so confident that it's in everyone today, everyone's saying it's on the verge of happening. Every news article, BBC, every Telegraph, The Athletic, whoever, all saying that it's a matter of time before Emery comes. Pretty much. Let's just hope it was tomorrow and he can just about get in there for the Brighton game. Fullbacks and player wing forward, Salvas DMs. Oh, I will definitely take a couple of players from Villarreal. Any Arsenal rejects as well still knocking about? it's weird with Arsenal because you think of Emery's record when he went there. He had 11 wins in a row very early on, and he had a 22-game unbeaten streak. So if that's the kind of impact you have at Newcastle straight away, would be over the moon. Do you know what I mean? That's just staying up if he comes in and does anything like that. So Arsenal fans, I think it was just hard with that being after Wenger, and we've seen it with Arteta still as well, how rocky his ride's been at the Gunners. So we'll see. Eric will try to get a ticket for Brighton. Oh, everyone's on it now. Everyone's on Brighton now because there's a new manager coming in. Lovely. But I've seen quite a few spares knocking around, like for Brighton, because obviously it's a long travel, so people drop out. So keep an eye on like spare ticket pages on Facebook and Twitter. You'd probably be able to bag one. Good instincts right now with Graham Jones in charge is a 1-0 defeat. But if Unai Emery comes in, I think we'll at least get a point. I think we'll get that new manager bounce. And I think we'll get a point. If not, we'll be super confident and say we'll nick a 2-1. But we've still got Graham Jones as it stands. This isn't official news yet. It hasn't been confirmed that Unai Emery is 100% obviously taken over as manager. So as it stands, I would say under Jones we'll get beat. Under Emery we'll get a result. Wait for Rafa, says Paul. Another defeat for Rafa. Everton last night again. Went 2-0 down quite early, but then recovered. But you're going to be waiting a while for Rafa. I mean, he's not going anywhere soon. He might go off in another month with the fixtures they've got coming up. They've got the Merseyside derby, but we cannot wait for Rafa. We need someone in before bloody Saturday. Never mind waiting weeks on end. I am going to be switching between the Villarreal game and the Man United game probably. Get a few of your comments in. I can see Sam is waiting backstage. The Arsenal fan going to talk about Unai Emery. So we'll get him jumped in a minute. Getting all the Arsenal people in here. Aaron Ramsey in January. Be over the moon with that. We'll take that all day long. He obviously does want to leave as well. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes. I think it may be a bit ambitious for us to try and get Aaron Ramsey just now. Surely he'll probably be wanting European football still. But if we get off to a good start with Emery and we can sell him the project, you never know. Buongiorno Liam, make sure you've subscribed if you're new. Cheers, mate. And like Aaron says, anyone over Bruce. I mean, if you had told me we were going to get Unai Emery last month, the start of the season, whenever, I would have said you're absolutely mental. You're off your tits. I'd laugh in your face. But for us to get there now and have him, if we get him, what enough? Only Newcastle United would do this, from Rafa Benitez down to Steve Bruce and back out to Unai Emery. There's only us that would carry on like this. It's a mental merry-go-round appointment for Newcastle. Tell you what we'll do. There's too many comments coming in to answer, so I'll try and get back to them later. But make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. We're going to bring in Sam now, the Arsenal fan. Hello, mate.
Hello, how are you doing? You okay?
Hi, good, mate. How are you?
I'm good, man. It's been a long time since I last saw you, but you know,
it has.
Yeah, man. It's been what, 3 years since when I went to St James's Park to watch Arsenal beat Newcastle under Unai Emery. It was a great time, and when I met you and the Magpie channel. I hope you all lads are doing well, because obviously I watch you guys time to time, and I hope you guys are doing good. So yeah.
Cheers, mate. I hope you're doing good as well. That's quite ironic that it was Emery's Arsenal that was the last time I seen you. With obviously the news that's broke today. I'll be there at the Emirates in a couple of weeks, mate. I'll catch up with you then if you're about for the.
I won't be there for that. I'll be at Sunday's Watford game though, when you play Watford at the Emirates. Yeah, that was one of my first home games under Unai Emery.
Well, what's your thoughts today then, mate? Hearing Unai Emery could return back to the Premier League.
Well, I think, you know what, for Newcastle, it'll be a perfect appointment. It'll be a perfect appointment for Newcastle. I feel like I'm not being disrespectful here when I say this, but Newcastle is a club that fits in with his type of level that Emery can produce, you know, great things with. For me, I see Newcastle a bit like a Villarreal, Sevilla type club in La Liga to Premier League comparison wise. I know I sound a bit deluded saying this, but that's how I see you guys. And I see with Arsenal, it was a big project. Arsenal's a big club. PSG was a big club. They were very, very hard to kind of like, stamp your authority within those clubs. And I feel like Newcastle's where he can fit in, especially with the new owners now. You got new owners, Saudi owners, which it is very good to see. And if the Saudi owners listen to what Unai Emery wants to implement, the players that he wants in, I can see Newcastle being very, very successful. I feel like under Unai, if he does, when he comes in, if he makes an instant impact and you guys, go forward from where you guys are now, I feel like he can land you into a European spot. And we all know he's the Europa League king. He can win the Europa League. He is the Europa League master. That's what, he's known for doing, winning the Europa League. And I feel like if you guys bring him in, you bring in the players that he wants, and he'll win you that in no time. I mean, the problem was with our Arsenal was that the board had its set player of targets, and then Unai had who he wanted, and it was as if Unai was kind of overruled by the board on who he wanted and what his style of play was. I remember reading something where he specifically wanted Fabinho and Nzonzi, and we got Lucas Torreira instead from the scout recommendations. And I felt like he wasn't kind of too fixated with Arsenal in the sense that the players that he wanted to bring in, that he was like, this player is going to work out for us. The players that, the talent ID he has, as some people say, is actually quite good. Like we were looking at, Nkunku of Leipzig. He's at Leipzig now. He worked with him at PSG, and he wanted him to come to Arsenal. And ever since you see Nkunku doing bits at Leipzig, you think to yourself, how did we miss out on that? Then we look at the other players. He wanted Zaha, he wanted Maguire. There were so many players he wanted. Partey, like I said, Fabinho, Nzonzi. There's a whole list of players that he wanted. He was one of the first people that after a season of Leno, he turned around and said, this isn't the type of goalkeeper I kind of, would want. If I want to play out from the back, he doesn't suit it. And he went out to sign another goalkeeper, but that never worked out for him. And he is, I'll be honest with you, he's a top coach.
I think you're right in terms of how Newcastle, the project will be different to Arsenal, because I've read a lot about how he didn't get the players he wanted. Like he was forced Nicolas Pepe in when he wanted Wilfried Zaha and many others, like you said. So with Newcastle, I'm sure he'll be making sure that he's got these agreements in place with the new owners, that he's in charge in the way. But there's been a lot of talk of obviously a director of football coming in at Newcastle, but I'm sure Emery wouldn't agree to come in without having control over transfers. And let's be honest, we know now £320 billion. He's going to have plenty of money to spend, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, see, the problem is when it comes to directors of football, you have these, people who are, technical directors, help out with transfers and stuff. The problem is when you have those guys at the club, it causes a lot of conflict. We looked at, Mislintat and I believe Tuchel at Dortmund. We had Mislintat at Arsenal, and it was only for a few months down the line, we just got rid of him. It was the case of where it's conflictive, and if Emery doesn't have a say in the transfers, and you get a technical director in, and he overrules Emery on every decision he makes, it'll be a case where Emery's going to turn around and say, "This is Newcastle where I want to be." Then he'll probably look at something else, find something else, and that's the last thing you want. You don't want to be a club that jumps from manager to manager to manager to manager to manager, because that way it doesn't look good as for a club. For Newcastle itself. I mean, let's be honest, when it came to Steve Bruce, not many, from what I saw at the time, I'm not too sure if it correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of Newcastle fans weren't happy with the appointment of Steve Bruce, and a lot of people did want him out, and eventually he is out now. And if you do, get Unai Emery, like I said, it'll be a fantastic appointment, but if you do get a technical director on top, that's going to kind of shape him up to think, is this job really worth it being here? Because, technical directors are all good and stuff. Like I said, when it comes to transfers, he'll say, okay, go and get me, for example, he says, go and get me Wilfried Zaha from Crystal Palace. But the technical director says, but Eden Hazard wants to leave Real Madrid, and, he's available for cheaper than that. And Hazard's proven in the Premier League, well, Zaha's in it right now. And then turns out Newcastle end up, for argument's sake, sign Eden Hazard, and he doesn't do as well. But when Zaha at Palace's numbers start to fly up, a lot of fans will be thinking, well, why didn't we listen to Emery in the first place, and why did we go for the technical director?
When I look at Arsenal's record under Emery, his stats, 78 games, 43 wins and 156 goals scored. It's kind of puzzling why you wanted him out. Did you want him out? Were you amongst the fans that wanted him out?
Well, in the second season, yeah. In the second season, I wanted him out because I just don't feel like the club was going the way it should have. But within the first season, I was a massive fan of him. I was, making my own slogan for him. WWE Walk with Emery. I think Newcastle fans, if they listen to that and they are WWE fans, they might want to take that slogan on board. Well, for me, it was as if his style of play was a bit, pragmatic for Arsenal. And I thought to myself, the way that he plays, it doesn't work. It doesn't fit in with the system. And, like I say, Arsenal is a big club. PSG, they were big clubs, they're tough clubs to deal with. It's a big job. You mess up at a big club, they'll get you out as soon as possible. But, clubs like Villarreal, Sevilla, and Newcastle, they'll give you the time to fix it. They'll give you the time, they'll give you the funding. And I feel like with Emery, he can work on the resources that is given to him. But he's just like, he's just got to get the players on board. Because I feel like with Arsenal, he did kind of lose the dressing room. When he threw Xhaka under the bus, he did lose the dressing room because Xhaka was the captain. And when you do that, you kind of, when you don't protect your player and you start to throw them under the bus, a lot of fans start to become unhappy about it. A lot of the players start to become unhappy about it, and you start losing the players, you start losing the dressing room. And I feel like it was the second season, that's where kind of told me, you know what, this guy isn't good enough. But the first season, for me, I'll always say he was one of the top coaches on there. And if you didn't make the mistake against Palace where we rotated, I don't know why that game. I looked at it and I thought to myself, why are we rotating against Crystal Palace? Because that 3 points made a massive. Like, we didn't get it, we lost the game. But if we got that 3 points against Palace, it would have made a massive difference to our season. If we got in the top four, but we lost the Europa League final, I would have said, well, so what? We're in the Champions League next season anyway, and then he would have had a better funding, and we would have been able to hopefully the season after that hopefully compete for the title. But it did get to an extent that the second season, I did say let him go because, he just didn't have it anymore. I feel like he lost his hunger for Arsenal as well. And a lot of the fans started to mock him as well.
You mentioned before he was a bit too pragmatic for Arsenal. What was the style of player that you've seen on a weekly basis then for Arsenal? Because he likes to play out from the back, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Likes a 4-2-3-1 formation or a 4-3-3.
Yeah, those are his favourite formations. And for me, he has to have specific players that can do that. Because if you've got, like I said, the players that was given to him, they're clearly not good enough. Half of them we've had to get rid of. Half of them we've pretty much got rid of. And for me, it was just like he could only work on what was given to him, and what was given to him wasn't what he wanted. If that makes sense. I mean, if you go to, I don't know how to explain it, but if you go to KFC and you order a Zinger burger meal, but they give you popcorn chicken instead, you think, what the hell are you doing? You just think to yourself, what's going on? That's a bit like how I can explain Emery's time at Arsenal. And as someone that does feature on Arsenal Fan TV, who go to a lot of the Arsenal games, I specifically remember that game against Wolves where we drew 1-1. Big up my guy Sam going up in the YouTube order, Mr. Arsenal podcast here, Ryan. Big shout out to you. What it was that Wolves game that I was there, and a lot of the fans were really, really upset. Fans in the stands, everyone was saying, we gotta get rid of this guy. This guy can't do the job anymore. And a lot of people were, siding to the fact that, Emery's style of play is not good enough. But some people also sided to the fact that maybe our players aren't good enough.
Mm-hmm.
There's two ways about it. Because you can blame a coach all you want, but if you love this podcast, fantastic. I love reading the comments that come up on the screen sometimes. I know I'm a big fan of the Magpie channel, but coaches can be good. There are coaches who are top class. But if they don't get what they want, the players that they think they know that will get them to the place they need to be, they're gonna be unhappy, and then they're gonna start to lose their style. I mean, we're looking at Mourinho now. Like, you look at Mourinho at Roma, you look at him at Spurs. He was a serial winner at Chelsea, serial winner at Inter, Porto. Where he made his name. Man United, he did win things. Emery wasn't. He wasn't. I'm not gonna lie. He was underrated. he was very, very underrated. You know, as time went on, like I say, you know, if those managers don't get the players they want at their disposal and the board isn't backing them, then of course they're going to start to make the mistakes you don't want them to make, and then it's just going to become toxic thereon.
Yeah. I mean, one last question then for you, Sam. We'll get you on another time as well once hopefully this gets announced as official. Are Newcastle going to finish above Arsenal next season with Unai Emery?
We'll have to see about that. We'll have to see about that. I mean, the way that we're going now, I was speaking on AFTV the other day when we beat Villa 3-1, which was a very good win. You know, Aston Villa is not that far from my house. 10 minutes from my house is Villa, and 5 minutes from my house is the West Brom ground. So watching us beat them two local clubs feels very good for me. But nevertheless, I feel like it depends. You know, you've got new owners in. I feel like if Arsenal fans still put that pressure on Kroenke, and they have the Spotify owner Daniel Ek that kind of, you know, comes out and says, look, I still want to buy the club, and puts the Kroenkes under pressure, then I feel like the Kroenkes will carry on spending and believing in the process. I feel like with Arsenal, it's like right now a lot of the fans are, you know, they're high up, they're singing, you know, Arteta in, but for me, I'm not too convinced just yet, because we make one loss, we lose one game. Say for argument's sake, we lose against you guys, and Emery's the coach.
Perfect.
Every Arsenal, I promise you, every Arsenal fan will be tweeting #Arteta out. Why did we sack Unai Emery for a guy that can't beat him? You know, you'll be reading those tweets. I mean, after the Villarreal game, I promise you, the things that I read, I was just like, well, it is true. If you sack a guy that you know, Unai was sacked in 8th since then. Arsenal have progressed. He's won European trophies like Lukaku and Silly Guinness. Yeah. For me, I don't think Arsenal have progressed. I mean, the person's right. We haven't progressed. We've been in the same position for years, and we can't blame Emery for that. We can blame, you know, the managers that have come in and, you know, not been able to do a job. But sometimes, like I said, with Arsenal, the problem is the players, and I feel like the way that we look at Arsenal now, you know, with the Ramsdale signing, you know, the signings we've made, people laughed at us. I mean, I was against the Ramsdale signing, and I promise you now, he's slowly making me eat my words, and I hope he keeps that consistency up. But as for Newcastle, like I said, if the board give him the money and he gets to spend the players and brings the players that he wants in, the ones that he says, you know what, this person is good for me. Like, for example, he identifies another Nkunku. He identifies, you know, a Maguire, a Zaha that's going to be fitting enough for the Newcastle side. I promise you, Newcastle can do bits, but finishing above Arsenal, well, let's see how the process takes us. So let's see if the Arsenal players who are giving it 100 now still give it consistent, because if they don't, I promise you, Newcastle will be up there. And I feel like with a lot of Arsenal fans, they are a bit sad with your new owners, knowing that if they give them the investment, you'll probably be competing for the Champions League in a few years. You know.
That's the plan, and that's the ambition of the new owners. So, fingers crossed, Sam. Cheers for joining me tonight. Appreciate your time, mate.
No worries. Thank you, Matt. Thank you for letting me come on.
No worries, bro. Anytime. Take care, man. See you later.
See you later. Take care. Thank you.
Big up Sam there. Sam Uddin on Instagram. He's a regular on AFTV there. Good to hear an Arsenal fan's perspective on Unai Emery. Plenty of Arsenal fans in the comments as well, so keep them coming in, and we'll get some more people on the show. We'll obviously try and get the main man, Don Robbie, and the rest of them on as this story progresses. If Unai Emery does hopefully get announced as the new manager of Newcastle United. We've got Big Keg in the background now. We'll bring him in. Buongiorno, mate.
Good evening. How are we doing?
Hi, good, mate. Good. How are you?
Aye, not bad, mate. Not bad. It's just Ganari is a Newcastle fan, isn't it? I mean, other than what's on the field, like. But
off the pitch it is. Off the pitch it is.
Off the pitch, it's absolutely class. On the pitch, I couldn't really give two shits, to be honest, because that Chelsea game on Saturday was woof. Oh, fucking hell. I haven't seen it was as bad a display in a long, long time.
Aye, really glad I came back off that one.
Bring back lockdown, I'll say.
Bring back lockdown. Not even football behind closed doors, Sky Sports lockdown. Just cancel it all.
Oh, it was lifting that, like.
But no, hopefully that's the last we see of the lifting football, please, because hopefully that's the last we see with Graham Jones, because Jones is just Brucey, isn't he? Jones is just Bruce, man. That was awful.
Yeah, and like we've all been bigging up Brucey. Hello, Jimmy. How we doing? We're all bigging up Jonesy. Obviously, came in. I think it was like February or something, wasn't it? Like came in because Brucey needed help, and that help seemed to come straight away. First game, the away to Everton, changed things up. Went from 5 at the back to a 4-3-3, 2-0 win away to a very good Everton side last year, and it kept going on. Had a few decent results. Kept playing 4-3-3. It was all good. And obviously, got part of the England team that got to the Euros final in the summer, but. Like I was quite happy for Graham Jones to take over for the foreseeable until we've found like a new head coach, new manager, whatever you want to call it. I was thinking like he is a good coach. Like surely he's going to be good enough to keep it up, which is the ambition this year. Let's not try and disguise it like we're going to try and win the fucking Premier League or even try and get top 4 or whatever. Whoever the manager is coming in, whether it's pretty Guardiola or Bobby Robson back from the dead, prime Alex Ferguson, like whoever it is, it's going to be hard to keep us up this year. So whoever the manager was, I wasn't particularly bothered as long as we're going to stay up. And I thought Jonesy would do that. But having been there in the flesh on Saturday, I can confirm he is not the guy. That was absolutely dreadful. So I'm happy that we've narrowed it down with it being Emery. I don't really have too much of an opinion. I'm happy because he's got a good CV. He's got a very, very good track record. Obviously, Arsenal fans didn't really take too kindly to him, but Arsenal fans never really take kindly to any of their managers. They even wanted the legendary Arsene Wenger out. Like, can you imagine like Man United fans wanting Fergie out or Toon fans wanting like Bobby Robson out? Like, it wouldn't have happened. That's them anyway. So yeah, I'm quite happy with him. Obviously, won a lot of things, had good CV, won things with PSG. Won numerous Europa League titles. So I'm happy that we've kind of got our guy. Obviously interviewed with him over the weekend. Seemed to be the standout candidate. We also spoke to obviously Fonseca and Eddie Howe, and I think Roberto Martinez, maybe a couple of others as well. And if the owners think that Emery's the main man, then I'm happy to go with them. And it's obviously going to work out for him because someone made a good point before that Emery's playing Champions League football currently. What is he going to be offered to come to a team 19th without a win? Obviously, the moolah, I don't know what the contract supposedly is, but obviously he needs investment in January. Like he must have been promised that he's going to have some cash to spend in January. And that's what I'm excited for. Like if he comes in for the Brighton game, great. But these next few fixtures, like the winter period is going to be tough. And I don't care if you're Steve Bruce or Pep Guardiola, these fixtures are going to be tough. So Newcastle fans can't get on his back kind of like Arsenal fans did if we still don't see much improvement. I do believe the performances will improve a hell of a lot from that Chelsea game. But as long as he kind of changes formation, does his own thing. I've heard that he's a fan of like a 4-2-3-1 formation, which we've been crying out for donkeys now. We've got the personnel to do it. We just need to utilize it, which nobody has in the past couple of years. So I'm excited. I still think the next couple of months is going to be very, very tough. But the season really starts for me on February 1st. Give Emery 3 months in the hot seat, a month in January, money to spend. And when that transfer window closes come February 1st, it's game on then. Like, I'm very excited to see how the second half of the season pans out.
And before then, though, we've got to make sure we obviously stay in the mix. Do you know what I mean? This is the thing that's fucking worrying the shit out of me. And this is why the Premier League didn't approve it in the summer as well. Obviously waiting on the BN privacy rights thing, but if they had have approved it in the summer, you know, we wouldn't have been in this mess. We could have already had one manager in. We could have already had the signings made. Everyone's hoping that we're going to go down just because it'll be funny for them and the richest club in the world and the championship and all that shit. But we need to make sure we're still in the mix because 6 points adrift already and it's November.
The
thing is, though, Brighton, if Emery does come in the next 24 to 40 hours, he's only going to have a day or two max to work with these players. But you hope you get the new manager bounce. Even a draw at Brighton, I'd take that now. Because if it stays as it is and Graham Jones in charge, we're getting, it's not going to be pretty at the Amex.
Brighton's having a very good season. They've come out of absolutely nowhere. Like, I kind of tipped them to go down this year, but fair play to them. They've been absolutely class. Like, I've always been a fan of Graham Potter since he took over. Like, we spoke very highly of him last year. Maybe didn't quite have the right personnel. Maybe he didn't have the players or the investment that he would have liked to push them on. But credit to them. They've done an absolutely amazing job this year. So, yeah, it might be a little bit too soon for Emery to be in the dugout on Saturday, but it's got to be better than what we've seen last week, man. Like, they're like only 1 or 2 days training he's going to have before taking charge on Saturday, if that is the case, which may be a bit soon. So maybe it might just be a good idea for him to just be in the stand and have Jonesy take over. But I would say that performance at the weekend, bad, man, against a team that's doing well. We're 6 points off the drift already. Like, we need instant change.
If Emery doesn't sign until Saturday morning at 9 o'clock, I still want him in the dugout on Saturday. I'm
with you. I completely agree. Like, I don't know if it's like realistic or rationable, but fuck it. Like, we need an instant change, and like, if that's going to be the formation, like, that's why I'm really disappointed in Graham Jones, because like I said before, like, I thought he would have done a really good job. He came in to be an attacking manager. Gareth Southgate took him in to be attacking, and his play's been wank. Like 5 at the back, which I did not expect. Like, as soon as he came in, he kind of took the reins from Brucey. Said, we're not playing 5 at the back. We're going 4-3-3. We're going to put Wilson as the right forward, Miggy false 9, and it worked an absolute treat. So I can't for the life of us understand why we've been playing the last couple of games like we have. Like, it's just been proper Brucey 2.0. If anything, it's been fucking worse. So
it actually has been worse, probably.
It has,
he's bringing in Kraft and Fraser, but playing Fraser and centre mid, it's just outrageous, man. We've got it's time to change Richie now. If you're going to play Richie, play him further forward. Give Lewis a shout. Bring in Willock, Almiron. You know, all these players that are on the bench. Fabian Shaw. It's mental. It scares the living life out of me what Graham Jones is doing. I think he most want to fucking pay off now.
Am I going to get 8 million as well? Does anybody get this? I can do a shit job for it.
I thought he'd come in and be doing up 4-3-3 and be playing attacking football, and it's been horrendous, absolutely horrendous. So obviously, Keith Downwell has been saying on Sky that the aim is to have Emery in for Saturday. The owners want him in for Saturday. I mean, he's an hour away from taking charge of Villarreal in the Champions League, so things are going to have to move swiftly, which has been the word of the day. Everyone's been saying swiftly, but if we can get Emery in this week, I'd be absolutely buzzing, mate, because we need an impact. Thankfully, obviously, if he does come in, he's only going to have a day or two. But thankfully, he's got an international break after that to really implement his style and then try and we're playing better football, get his formation drilled into the lads. Because I'm sure he's not going to be taking weeks off and days off like Brucey and taking off. So that's a positive. And then after that, we've got Brentford at home, which is our most winnable game for ages, really, even though Brentford have been doing well. Slipped off a little bit lately. Watched them get absolutely pumped off Burnley the other day, so that wasn't good for them. But that won't be an easy game. But if you can't beat Brentford at home, then we are going to be more in the shit than we already are, really, considering we're already 6 points adrift. And then after that, I absolutely love the fact that it's Arsenal away, because what a chance for Unai Emery to go there and stick it every single one of the Gunners. He said the day Gillian Bailey, the Spanish correspondent for Sky, he said that when he interviewed Emery, he was saying he's got unfinished business. He wants to come back to the Premier League and he wants to prove people wrong. That's the kind of spirit you want. Like, so for him, he'll be dead up for it, and hopefully we'll go to the Emirates and actually have a bloody shop for a change. So every time we go there, it's lifting, isn't it? Absolutely fucking.
It's worse and worse every year as well. It was 2-0, then 3-0, then 4-1. Yeah, no.
So hopefully this year we can get a stamp on the game and try and. Because I'd love to see the meltdown from Arsenal fans and Robbie and that, with if Emery went there and just got a fucking lift and 1-0 win or something.
Shit house mags again.
It'd be class.
But that is a good point though. Like if he does come in last minute, like say even if it is 9 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, and he can take the team, if he can play a 4-2-3-1, change it up a little bit, and we'll still get beat, but play well, that's all right. We'll pretty much take that. And then we've got 2 weeks off. We've got the international break. Not too many's going. I think I've seen Dubravka and Fraser has been going this week.
Dubravka
probably. I didn't even know why he's going. He hasn't fucking played since the Euros, but never mind. So then we've got like two weeks, like I say. Like, we're not going to be having holidays. We're not going to be flying off to Portugal, tanning ourselves up in the sun, getting my canchas out on the beach. Like, we'll be training. That's his window to sit down with the players. Most of them won't be on international break, thankfully. So you can sit down with them and say, like, right, this is what we're going to do. Like, them 2 weeks could be pivotal. And we have got Brentford, very winnable game. Very tough winter fixtures, but as long as we get these 2 weeks for him to start cracking down, play a decent style, take a couple of wins at a point at the Emirates, whatever, a couple of draws, get a few more on the board right up until January, open that transfer window, see what happens, like give him some money and see what we can do. And I think we'll be absolutely fine. Like I know survival is absolutely the end of the season, and I don't know how many points we're going to have come January 1st, but as long as we've got the right man in now for a few months, get the January transfer window opened, I think we'll be absolutely fine. Like I'm not expecting to get top 10 or anything, but just to be out of that, like we're now 6 points in the relegation zone, just to be 6 points outside of it would be a massive bonus at this point because this season's been lifting.
It has 10 games, 0 wins. Doesn't get any worse than that, really, does it? You look at Emery's win percentage record, though. Yeah, I've got it since 2013, and it's actually one of the best across Europe, you know. And he's got one of the best in the Premier League for the games that he managed. At Sevilla, where he won 3 Europa Leagues in a row, he had a win percentage of 51.7%. Then he got himself a nice fancy move to PSG, where he won the league and won a couple of French Cups as well. He had a 76.3% win record there, which people might say, well, PSG and money.
As you'd expect.
Look what's happened to Pochettino at the minute, though. He's got Messi. He's got everyone. He's having a nightmare. He's having an absolute nightmare. So it doesn't always guarantee that. So he did outstanding at PSG. And obviously they didn't win the league last year either. Arsenal, with all the trials and tribulations he had there, he still had a 55.1% winning record. Gave them to 5th place. Gave them to the Europa League final. You know, what more can you expect when it was a transitional period from Arsene Wenger as well?
Yeah.
And then currently at Villarreal, he's got 46.6% where he's won the Europa League there as well. So that's quite nice to see, isn't it? That gets us a little bit excited.
It's a little bit better than Brucey's fucking 2.9.
22.3 or something, Brucey's.
It's no good, that man. Like I'm just happy for progression. Like I've been saying that since day one, since the takeover started. Like I don't know what people's expectations are. Mine's just to improve. And I don't know if Emery's going to get into the top 4 or even win the Premier League in the next 3 years or whatever. Right now, I'm not particularly that interested. Like we've sit and watched some shite over the past 15 years. Like I just want to see some progression. I want to see some good signings, good coaching, decent tactics, and just build ourselves up, break top 10, get the Europa League, Emery special, try and win like a Carabao Cup in the Europa League. What a season that would be. Can you imagine that? Like 5 years from now, we'll win a Europa League and a Carabao. Fuck me. We're on the piss for a year. Like we haven't experienced anything like that. We haven't won a trophy since bloody 1960 or 59, whatever the bloody hell it was. Like I'm just excited for the future. Like, and I know like Emery's going to have like a tough year. Like it doesn't matter who he signs in January. We're so far behind the pace, man. Like only Norwich are worse off than us at the minute. Like 10 games, no wins. Cannot really be much worse. So I'm still a little bit worried, but I'm not too worried. Like now that we're getting it in at the right time before January, and I just see what happens. Just keep the faith together that he's going to do the job. Then we'll get a bigger budget in the summer, hopefully, and start afresh the next season with a manager like Emery, hopefully a full budget, a rejuvenated squad. Out can happen. Absolutely anything can happen. I'm absolutely confident we can get top 10 with this manager and a decent team.
Oh, 100%. I think that the goal obviously stay up this season, sign a 4 or 5 in January, and then sign 24 or 5 in the summer. get rid of everyone, and then push for top 8, top 10 the following season. Have a good cup run, and Emery loves a cup run. Emery loves a cup run. I think he got Arsenal at the semi-finals of the FA Cup as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good to see. It's going to be good to see. I remember a couple of times when we watched Arsenal, and we were shouting at the TV because he likes to play out from the back, doesn't he? He loves playing out from the back. He wants ball playing centre backs. He wants the ball playing keeper, which is what Sam alluded to before. Though, is that he didn't get the players that he wanted to play that system, and that's why it was a bit of a mess. Because which hopefully we should get at Newcastle. Newcastle should get who he wants, but when they're saying Leno, he didn't want Leno. He wanted a ball-playing centre-back, ball-playing keeper with ball-playing centre-backs. He didn't want to sign David Luiz. They signed David Luiz ahead of him.
Yeah.
That wasn't his decision, amongst many others, including Nicolas Pepe. So if you get it right, it's great. But if you get it wrong, it's a disaster, isn't it? Playing out from the back.
It's very, very risky. It's never really something that I've liked, but I completely understand it. When you get it right, you get like a Pep Guardiola team. If you get it wrong, it's risky. I don't like it. It's like I remember watching.
Even Liverpool against Brighton, actually. Liverpool against Brighton on the weekend. I think
I remember watching Arsenal do it against Liverpool. Like David Luiz, like passing it like right across the goal line while you've got like Mane sprinting down everything. And I'm like, what are they doing? They nearly got caught out multiple times and they were still doing it. I felt like an Arsenal fan. I was like, get the fucking ball out, man. I was getting proper pissed off. I was like, fucking get the ball out the box. Like, it's doing my head in. So I don't really want to say that at St. James's. Like, I don't think that's good for anybody's stress or anxiety, but as long as it's like he gets the right tactics and he's got a budget, hopefully he's going to be able to have the freedom. Obviously, we haven't got Mike Ashley anymore. We haven't got a dictator. We're not going to have people forcing transfers. Hopefully, fucking Lee Charnley's out the door next week. I don't know why he's still got a job.
Why? I know. I have no idea what he's still doing. Yeah.
So with a director of football, ambitious owners with the right amount of money, hopefully Emery gets a little bit of freedom to sign who he wants. Yeah, I'm confident that you will get who he wants and sign some decent players, like get the impact. If he does like playing out at the back, if he can make his team look like a Pep Guardiola team, fine. I'm okay with that. But he is going to need the right personnel. We've got Fabian Shaw's a decent ball playing centre back, but the rest of them need to fuck off.
He can hopefully come back in the team ASAP as well. Do you think, is there anyone else on the list who's been linked? And there's plenty of them, but any of the managers that have been at the top of the list that you'd prefer instead of Emery? So we're talking Lucien Favre, we're talking Paulo Fonseca, Eddie Howe, Gerrard, Potter, Martinez, any of those that you think would do a better job than Emery?
I don't know. Like, it is really hard to tell, obviously, because it's still early doors. I've never really had me sights set on anybody specifically because of the situation that we're still in. Like, we've still got the Steve Bruce team. We still haven't got a transfer window. We can't spend a penny. Like they say, like, we've got the keys. We just can't open the door. Like, we're still stuck with the same old shit. So until we can start to say something, my choice of manager, it wasn't really there, to be honest. Like, I think they're all decent choices. Like, I kind of would like to have seen Eddie Howe, but I think Eddie Howe was kind of like an ambitious Mike Ashley-like appointment. Like, he done a decent job with Bournemouth, maybe spent in the wrong areas, done as much as he could, then eventually got relegated. His time ran out. So maybe going forward probably wasn't the right choice. Wouldn't have minded Lampard. I really would have liked Gerrard, but I don't think he's looking up at the Newcastle job at the minute, depending on, I suppose, the money. I think if we were going to offer him a contract, I think he probably would have come. But I think he's got his sights on the Liverpool job coming up. Favre I would have took. Fonseca I would have took. There's not really anyone that I would have took, mate. I've been watching fucking Steve Bruce, man. Bloody Steve McLaren. Fucking John Carver. Joe Kinnear. I've been used to these guys. Anybody is an improvement. Like, that's why I haven't been bothered. I haven't been setting my sights on anyone. Like, I think anybody is an improvement, and I'm quite happy for them to be given the money in January and the summer coming and just see what happens. Ten Hag, to be fair, I really would have liked Ten Hag, but it's all about getting somebody out of a contract. It would have cost a lot of money to get Ten Hag out of a contract. I really would have liked Nagelsmann, but being at Bayern Munich, he probably wouldn't have budged from there unless we offered him something stupid.
Those are managers we could try and get in like 2-3 years' time. They want them. If Emery can do a good job, rebuild the club, then if Emery will think he's took as far as he can, he's got with Europa League, then you look to a Nagelsmann or something, then you're laughing, aren't you, really? But it's about building blocks. It's about step 1, step 2, step 3.
That's been like my philosophy throughout this whole process. Like, everybody thinking that we'll get the right manager in and we'll win the league next year. I don't think that's realistic. I want somebody to build. That's why, like, if you talk about Rafa could have been that guy to rebuild the team. He had the ambition. He's had like the project in place. Would we have won a Premier League under him or Emery or anybody? Probably not. Like, it is going to be a long, long process. So a lot longer than I think what people are given credit for. Like, Man City did do it in 1 year. It took them a long, long time. They went through like Kevin Keegan and Sven-Goran Eriksson and Mark Hughes before they found their Mancini. Like, Emery might not do it, but as long as he builds up, if he ends up getting sacked because he's disappointed with by not getting top 6, that's progression that we've never had before. Like, if someone's getting sacked because they haven't won the top 6, mint. Like,
I know.
do you know what I mean?
Bring on the days. Bring on the days where we're
Yeah,
streaming
so-
Emery out like the Arsenal fans were
so
because he's
if
lost
you
in the
can-
final of the Europa League.
So if he signs a 3-year contract or whatever it's going to be, and he can establish it as a permanent top 10 team, breaking top 8, Europa League, top 6, whatever it is, fantastic. Then his contract might expire like what Rafa's did. Get the next guy in. As long as he puts it in good stead for the future, then maybe he's look towards maybe he's a Gerrard who will have like 3 years more experience under his belt. Maybe someone like Conte or Ten Hag or Nagelsmann. Yeah, then we'll go for like Roberto Mancini, like what Man City did. Like we just need a better squad. We obviously need the academy and the training facilities and everything updated. That's not going to be an overnight thing. The training facilities are dink. Like, how are you going to bring like an Mbappe or someone good to our facilities with the fucking wheelie bins? Like, it's going to be a long process to develop this club because Mike Ashley's had us rotten for 15 years. There's a lot of work needs to be put in over the next few years. Like, this isn't going to be a quick process. So as long as a manager comes in who puts it in good stead in 3, 4, 5 years' time, then we'll get Roberto Mancini or Pep Guardiola, who's going to take one step further and win the Premier League. Fantastic. I'm over the moon to get Emery in right now, and then we'll just see what happens. Take it bit by bit.
Yeah, definitely, because it's mad that the people. I think it's insane the people on social media who are turning the nose up at Emery, and it's
crazy.
Most of them are. I would say 70% of Newcastle fans at least are happy with Emery, but there's some of them on the post and stuff who are just like, nah, no, thank you, not good enough. We're 19th in the Premier League. We've got a fucking shower of shit for years that needs rebuilding. We've just went from the worst manager in the world, Steve Bruce, and we're going to complain about getting a European winner in Unai Emery.
Honestly, I don't know what people's expectations are. It is mental. Like, I don't know what people were really thinking of. Like, that's why I'm quite surprised that we're even able to rope in a Champions League manager. He's literally playing Champions League football tonight. Then on Saturday, he's going to be in a team in the fucking bottom 3 in the Premier League. Like, how here, man? Give the fucking bloke some credit, man. Like, obviously, he's probably coming for the money and the ambition. Like, he's got unfinished business in the Premier League. It sounds like he's got some business to take care of, which sounds absolutely brilliant to me. So, yeah, cracking. Like, if he's willing to leave a Premier League, a Champions League club to come to us and help us out and develop us over the next few years, how can you turn your nose up at that?
I know, it's insane. I think it shows great intent by Stavely and the owners, and it makes you have more trust in them after fans were losing patience as well, with it being 3 weeks now and the results and performances being so bad. But if they get Emery, I think they'll get it right, and it's been worth the wait. But when you look around, I wouldn't have thought we would have got Emery. Paying out another, I mean, we paid 8 million to sack Bruce the other week. We're going to pay Villarreal 6 million to get Emery out of his contract. All the money we're going to spend in January in the summer and beyond that, all the money that needs spent on the stadium and the training ground, at least we know that the future is bright, hopefully, and the things are going to be put in place. But to go from that, I mean, Emery in the Champions League, that's why I thought we would have probably got like a Lucien Favre or a Eddie Howe.
Yeah, like Fonseca's out of a job. Yeah,
these managers that are free and out of a job, but we're paying compensation packages and we're aiming high, and that we're after a Champions League manager. A serial winner across Europe, 3 leagues he's won titles in, so it's unreal, really, and we should be over the moon, and hopefully the deal gets over the line in the next couple of days.
Fingers crossed, eh?
Fingers crossed, right? Well, that'll do for this stream. I've got to jump on Rubenstein's stream at 7 o'clock, so make sure you head over straight to his channel in 5 minutes' time. Cheers to everyone that's tuned in and commented. I think we're about 50, 60 subscribers away from hitting the big 14,000 mark. So if you're watching this, nearly 600 people watching it, make sure you've subscribed and liked the channel. Appreciate it a lot. Cheers, Keg. Appreciate your time tonight, mate.
Not a problem at all, mate. Good luck for the rest of the night.
Cheers, mate. We'll be back tomorrow, hopefully, with some official news, or if any developments happen, we'll be here covering it. All right. Cheers for watching, everyone. Subscribe to my Channel TV. Enjoy yourself.